Welcome, guys, to the MMOs.com podcast. This is episode 90, and this is Altai, joined this week by
Omer,
Gumbo,
Matt,
and we are missing one. It is just for this week. Shu couldn't make it. But as always, we are going to start off with the weekly raid, and we got a lot of other fun stuff to discuss afterwards. So take it away, Sean.
this week's weekly raid is fairly straightforward. We're really just asking, should developers sell gold themselves? You know, it's almost impossible to stop the black market of gold sellers in games. Any new release we go into, we always see the chat spam, buy gold at MMO, whatever, attack, atck.com. Even on private servers, you find it. So is the solution just to have developers turn around and sell the gold themselves? And recently, Blizzard upgraded their WoW tokens. Already, you could buy a 30-day game token and sell it on the auction house for gold. But I'm wondering, now that Blizzard has had this system for a while, and Eve, I think, Eve has had it for a couple years now, is this the trend? And does it actually work? Doesn't the black market just undersell the stated prices? I'm curious what everyone's opinions are.
I want to correct you real quick.
Go ahead.
What you just described, what WoW is doing, Eve is doing, is not them selling gold directly. They're selling a premium service, a currency, which people can then sell for gold, and vice versa.
Sure.
Okay. And I think that's actually a good enough hand washing. Like the left hand. What do they call it? What's this thing? The right hand pays the left or something. That little obfuscation there is pretty good. It's a good gimmick. At least it feels like the players are involved in the process then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say they should do it, and the reason is because, I don't know how many people get scammed by quote-unquote gold sellers on a regular basis, but, just the simple fact that they're doing it officially means that people will not go to these outside sources. It won't thrive. There will be a few people still that are like, I got to get the best deals, but the average person is just like, whatever, it's here, it's simple. I can just use my exact same payment info. I can just click a button and I've got gold. So the average person is not going to go outside of that, and I think that has value on its own. So,
all right. I don't think it's a simple question, because I think a lot of people get very passionate about this. I think a lot of people get very heated over this.
Well, I think the other thing is, if the developers are selling it, there's no reason to get heated because they'll balance their game around it, ideally.
So, just to clarify then, Matt, is your position in support of the current system in WoW and even stuff where...
Yeah. Okay.
Because remember, this means that this is a two-sided bonus here, because not only can the payers get gold, but they can the non-payers have an opportunity to buy that premium service, whether it's game time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's what I mean by selling gold. The other thing is, the system only works as long as people are allowed to willing to pay for it. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So with this system, the people by buying it are saying that they want it.
And we've seen this in many games, not just even WoW. A lot of the Neverwinter, cryptic games that you can buy. The
Black
premium.
Desert. Yeah. Blade and Soul are free to play. Blade and Soul is free to play.
So before we continue that discussion, what about the other side where you just buy the currency, in-game currency, right from the storefront of the shop
Can't do it.
For example, a lot of mobile games, there's no real interaction. There's no trading. Instead, you just buy the currency straight from the publisher developer. Where do you guys stand on that? Imagine you could just buy WoW gold from Blizzard.net.
It's funny that you say that, because it's as if you need that two-step process to make it not seem wrong. You need to buy some type of in-game currency like jewels and then exchange that for gold to make it acceptable. Whereas if you buy the gold directly, all of a sudden it becomes a problem. And I don't know if I see much of a difference.
There's the difference is that when you buy it directly from the developer, there's an unlimited supply, but when you buy it from another player, it's only as many as they're willing to pay for.
Right. Are you guys okay? If the developer would sell in infinite quantity, where do you guys stand on that? So let's say you can literally just buy it from the developer at a fixed price.
It depends.
Are you guys okay with that? Let's say World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft.
Last I recall, gold doesn't do much in World of Warcraft. You can have all the gold you want, you still won't have the highest tier of gear.
Right. So as long as your game has systems in place that make it so that you can't spend the in-game currency to max yourself out, then I guess it's not an issue.
Right. What about a game like I do agree with you, Matt, because I think World of Warcraft, their gold is pretty meaningless, right? And even in Final Fantasy 14, it's pretty meaningless. But what about a game like Blade and Soul or a game like Black Desert, where currency is very important in the game to a point where you can upgrade your gear, or in Blade and Soul, you upgrade your gear and you have command over all the loot drops so you can outbid everybody else. What about a game
Well,
like that?
Blade and Soul, it's kind of tough to say because the PvP, like, that matters, the arena PvP, it's
Yes.
equalized, and people can easily opt out of the open world PvP. And
Mm.
I am convinced still that there's no such thing as a pay-to-win PvE experience. It doesn't exist. People just got to get over the fact that other people can one-shot things.
Hold on, Matt. Listen, let's say you're not a PvP gamer, right? Let's say you're playing Blade and Soul for the PvE experience, right? And let's say we run a dungeon together, and I happen to be I spend a lot of real life money, so let's say I have 10 billion gold, right? And this item drop that you need, and let's say I outbid you on it. Don't you feel cheated that I got the item and you didn't just because I paid, and you spent hours of your time trying to get that item?
No,
But come
because
on,
it's because someone actively outbid me on it.
but he
And
outbid you by
if they
buying the
think
gold.
it's worth that much, whatever. That's the way I look at
you're
it.
playing that game and you want to get the item and get stronger. You know, your
eventually
PvE
you're gonna
experience is
end- okay.
diminished.
But eventually you're going to end up with somebody who's not going to outbid you. You just got to be patient.
But then can you agree? Is that fair then for you to just having to like pass up all the loot till you find somebody who can't outbid you because if they outbid you without spending cash money, that's different. That's
Look,
understandable.
that's just where I stand on it. Okay,
All right,
there's
that's
no,
fair. Yeah,
there's no changing it.
I'm just saying, it is. I can understand their perspective, right, when they're buying the gold directly from the company, but I do accept that. I think it's a necessary evil to accept that the middleman thing. I agree, it's not perfect, right? Because games like Blade and Soul, games like Black Desert, there is an advantage, right? You are literally using real life cash to get an advantage, although not directly from the developer with the current system, right? But it's a necessary evil. It's because it's going to happen anyway from the third party gold sellers. But if the company itself is selling directly, I have a personal problem. Then that's my cutoff. If the company itself sells infinite quantities of in-game currency and you're not buying it from another player, then I see a big problem. But I do understand the frustration of people in games like BDO and in Blade and Soul, as is currently, because you could be playing that game for the PvE experience, and I agree. I mean, even though PvP is balanced, you might not care about PvP. You want to run your dungeon, you want to get your loot, but you can't because somebody paid money, and he literally stops you from getting it.
Okay, but to defend the other side of that, like you guys know I'm kind of on Matt's side on this more so, and I grew up playing those old school PvP games in high school, right? Where I thought the better player wins, right, in PvP, but that really isn't the case. If I'm playing against a 30-year-old guy who just got home from work, he plays a couple hours a day, there's no way he's on an equal setting with me, right? If I'm playing 12 hours a day,
Yeah.
So I don't see that as any less fair than him just being able to catch up to me with by buying the progress. So that's my take on it. And here's the thing: neither should affect your gameplay. If you want to just grind 12 hours a day, get the max level stuff that way, you must be enjoying it. If you're not enjoying the 12-hour grind, right? That's the game. If you're telling yourself you're 12-hour grinding so you can have fun later, you should stop doing whatever you're doing.
No, that's different. Now, let's say we're in a dungeon together, and you literally, let's say you literally get cheated out. Not cheated. You don't get the gear you want purely because the guy paid for it.
Now, is that more
your experience?
I would argue that either don't group with him if you know that he's a.
You don't know.
Okay. 2, then I would say there's a game mechanic problem that it doesn't do a good job segregating equal power players. And remember, having lots of gold is a power indicator. So the fact that I queued, for example, with a level 10 with 1 billion gold versus a level 10 with 2 gold, that's a power imbalance in some way.
I don't think it can easily distinguish that. I mean, the gear might be equalized otherwise, and he's just trying to, just beat you on all the loop bids.
That is an interesting system, and I think only Blade and Soul has that feature.
It is a cool system.
To recap, guys, if you don't know, in most games when you get like a rare drop, it says it's a need and agreed roll, right? Where in Blade and Soul, you bid gold. So the guy with the most gold can get everything he wants in a dungeon, and everyone else can get nothing, but they do get a split of the gold that he bid. So it's a very weird system. I've only seen it in Blade and Soul. I don't know if they focus test that. I don't know if people like that. I don't know. It's just weird.
The idea was that even if you don't get the item you wanted, the guy who outbid you. So let's say there's only 2 of us, and he bids 100 gold, and he gets the item, but then the 100 gold is divided by everybody else that didn't get the item. So there's 3 players that each get 50 each, and you paid the 100 gold for the item that way. But
so there's some game theory there that allows free players to make a lot of money by gouging the few payers out there.
But provided they have the money to even bid it up, that's
Yeah.
a lot of people are broke in that game. Let's say you run a dungeon and you have like 20 gold, right? And an amazing item drops. You can only bid up to 20 gold, and he might bid up to 1,000 if you. Maybe he was going to bid up to 1,000.
But so every dungeon run, you can double your gold then.
Potentially, but then you're risking it. If you don't want the item and you're actually bidding it to gouge that guy, he might not want it either. And
I mean, that could be fun. It could be like a skill kind of challenge to see how much you can,
But I agree with you a bit more in Blade and Soul because you're not directly always affected by the power. Even though you can be PK in the wild, the guy's got a higher tier upgraded weapon and higher upgraded gear than you. He can still kill you in the open world if you're not paying. But ultimately, I am okay with the system that as long as you have that middleman and you're buying from other players, it's okay. It's a form of transaction between players, right? But the developer is selling gold directly. I see it as a problem. So in a game like Blade and Soul and Black Desert, Aaron, do you see that as a problem? I think Matt said it wasn't a problem.
No, not really.
You don't see it as a problem either. Gumby, what about you?
For me personally, it's not a problem. No.
All right.
But
maybe
if you want to create the perception of an even playing field in the eyes of the masses, right or wrong, then you want to avoid those situations. Well, I'm not trying to counter what Aaron or Matt were just saying, but it does create a perceptual issue for your game.
Look,
I think you can get away with it just fine.
I want to summarize my point real quick. In an era where, for example, Minecraft is a good example. You have servers with PvP. You have servers with like disabled destruction of other people's stuff, right?
Okay.
It falls. So the goal should be to create a broad tent with rules. So, for example, the hardcore PvP no spend money guys can all get together in like one corner of the map and have their own fun, right? Without denying it or trying to impose it on other people, and vice versa. So if you want to pay for free with your friends or your group, you can kind of do your own guild, like RP almost.
You can't do that, though. That is literally not how those mechanics are designed. The mechanics are designed so if you pay, you can beat those guys that don't pay. That's the reason
Don't interact with them. No, don't interact with those people.
You can't create a world where those people can't interact. In fact,
Yeah, you
the
can.
reason they pay is because they can interact with people that don't pay.
No, just go to your own little town, like a otherwise deserted area, and do your own thing. Like,
But why would I pay for gold in Blade and Soul if I'm only queuing dungeons with people that also paid for gold? So we're just basically bidding against each other. The reason I pay for gold is so I can outbid the scrubs who don't pay for gold. That's the mentality of people that are buying the gold.
Don't use a queue. Just do your own thing.
All right. I'm just saying the game. One of the selling points for those mechanics is that they're intermingled. Why pay to win if you can't stomp the non-pay to winners? That's the reason people do pay to win. They want to get that rush of being OP. And you can't take that away from them. Otherwise, they won't pay.
I don't think that's most people, but we'll see.
I don't know either. We're just discussing. Wait, this always creates a heated discussion. I mean, this is something that's always gonna. And even today, people don't agree at all that some people say the system in Blade and Soul is okay. People say Black Desert is okay, and other people just absolutely go nuts over it. This is something that people will strangle each other over. So I don't think anyone has a silver bullet of a solution to make everybody happy. But the thing that I emphasize is these companies need to make money, right? Which is why I say the system that they currently have where you trade with other players is okay, because you can't view these as like in a perfect product. I agree with everybody that says you can't have those systems. If it was a perfect product, your ideal game, you're right, those systems won't exist. But this is not the ideal. We don't live in the perfect world.
Who does live in a perfect world? Everyone's favorite browser game, Evony.
There you go.
So, by the way, if you guys have any opinions, we'd love to read them. As long as we get a couple, we can go over them next week in the weekly raid. So if you have your own strong feelings about developers selling gold or token systems, please let us know in the post. But if you guys weren't aware, this past weekend was the Super Bowl. And while I only watched the last 3 minutes because I am a devout American citizen, there was an extremely interesting aspect of the Super Bowl that was not part of throwing the old pigskin around. It was everyone's favorite browser game, Evony. If you don't know Evony, it's a game where you may have seen their advertisements all over the internet. It normally says, "Come play, my lord," and has a lewd woman, normally a blonde, scantily clad, and it has nothing to do with that. It's a browser strategy game, but they had a high-budget Super Bowl ad. I think, do you have that up there?
It is running over there, but I mean, the ad itself is actually has a pretty good production value for an ad, and it really. I found it amazing that a company like Evony can pay $5 million to buy a Super Bowl ad. It is absolutely nuts.
Well, let's point out, after this ad, Evony, according to GameSpeed or VentureBait, is the #5 most downloaded iPhone game in the U.S.
So ads work. Like Superbowl
Ads work.
But I think they're advertising the incorrect way. I mean, this ad shows off these two medieval guys, some people fighting. They showing off some like potential. It's not gameplay, obviously, because people just actors running around. But like, it shows off the setting of the game. I mean, that's a full 180 from Evony's typical marketing strategy. I mean, just take a look at this, for example. This website actually shows you the progression of Evony ads. So if you remember Evony, this game was around back in 2009. They were really advertising everywhere. And look at those first few ads that they have. It is truly remarkable where they started and where they ended up. Because their first ad is a guy with a sword, and he's wearing armor, and the game is called Evony Free Forever. And then I guess their marketing people were like, wait a minute, we can't show off one night. We should show off a little lady. So now there's a girl. She's got a little busty, but she's like in the background. It's just for free. Start your journey now, my lord. And it's slowly progressing. And look at that progression slowly as you go from normal ads to just the progressively more and more sexualized ads. And I guess they keep seeing their click-through rates increase when they go more and more like more girls and less like actual setting in game.
This is my favorite one, honestly. There's more revealing ones, but this one's my favorite. Play discreetly on your browser now. Why do you have to hide your little medieval city builder? It's not like a porn game. Like, I don't understand.
Well, they're trying to imply that it's some kind of porn game to make you click on it. My favorite by far is the best free web game play, Evony Free Forever. It is literally just a set of boobs, like right in your face. Like, they cropped out the face, they cropped out the body. We got the good shit straight up, nothing else, all right?
Beautiful.
These were all real ads back in like 2009, 2010. And I saw the progression from like normal ads to booby ads. And that is this is the pinnacle of advertising, all right? It is literally just a rack.
I want to point something out. I remember these ads, right?
Yeah.
And I know people click them, obviously, but when I saw these ads, I immediately thought virus. I never clicked it. I immediately thought this is a scam. This is a virus. I did not want to click these.
You didn't click. I clicked on a couple of those Evony ads because like I see the girls. I'm like, what is this game? I'm curious.
I have self-restraint.
I like this one right here. This is the sign-up one where you just see her boobs and body.
Like, what about this ad
right.
is a game? Like, you look at this ad, right? It's like you think you're signing for like a porn site or some like adult site, right? I like the second one too. You can see the bottom half. They cropped the head out. They realized the bottom one focused even better. Like, who needs the head when you get the good shit? Boom.
A/B testing. Ass and boob testing. Yeah, that's what it stands for.
I think it's actually remarkable that the A/B, like, I'm sure that they measured all their results. Actually, for a long time, Evony was one of the biggest advertisers in like the entire internet marketing space. I have a friend that works in internet marketing. He would talk about it too, how much money they're splashing in the market. And because their ads were everywhere, like ESPN, like every major website had their ads too, as well as every gaming website. So I'm sure they tested these ads really, really well because they weren't going to waste money. And every time they went skimpier and skimpier, you realize that, wait a minute, like more people click on the ads. So of course you're going to make it skimpier and skimpier. So if you're ever advertising in the future, guys, just slap a set of tits in there, and you're going to get all the clicks from the guys, all right? That's the trick.
All right, but the real winner of the Super Bowl is these 3 ads by World of Tanks developer Wargaming.
Yes, I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to bring that up next. It's so good.
Hold on, I'm dropping all 3 of them.
See them. I actually haven't seen these yet, so.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
Start at the top. The top one's the funniest, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
Put audio too.
I'll put some audio. I really haven't seen these, so first time. One sec. What's the tank doing there? What?
I like the other. I like that one. It's my favorite. The one you're putting on right now.
Carrie and Derek make a big decision on a teensy house. So is this your teensy house?
I see they went with the Kool-Aid Man technique of advertising. Just have some random shit happening, and then a tank just bursts in. Oh
so
yeah!
Even the voice they use, tanks rule.
Yeah.
It is definitely a Kool-Aid Man approach.
They're like, it's advertised, guys. Who likes ad? What kind of ads do you guys like? Kool-Aid Man? All right, let's go with that.
That's probably how it went down, actually.
Yeah.
Nobody else has done the Kool-Aid Man until these guys did it.
That was pretty good. You know what this reminds me of? Their very first announcement trailer. Do you guys remember it? It was World of Tanks Orcs. It was like there was orcs, right? So you thought, okay, I found it. It's 6 years old, guys, this trailer. What do you guys think of this one? This is their first one. This is before anyone knew what World of Tanks was. So you just see orcs, right? You're like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the We Don't Have Orcs one? Oh no, that's not it. That was some other game.
Alright, we see an orc with some arrows. Yeah, Zenus, World of Tanks has a Superbowl commercial. They spent $5 million on it, on each of those ad spots.
How good is this ad?
This is actually really good.
Oh, I remember what it was. Oh, that's what I was thinking of.
This is so cool, this ad.
It's just like, what's going on? They spend like the first like 90% of the ad on like orcs and archers and elves.
And
That's
tank
what I
just
was
runs
thinking
over out
of.
of nowhere. I love it. Well, tanks do beat orcs, alright? That's basic logic.
Dude, that's a holy trinity, you know, archers versus axemen versus tanks. Tanks come out ahead.
No matter what. I'm looking at the global agenda one now. But yeah, guys, you know, I mean, World of Tanks makes a lot of money. It's actually one of the most successful free-to-play games like ever. I'll tell you how much money that game makes. The elf is just getting sniped.
Oh, that's pretty fun. I haven't seen this one actually.
Yeah, when they put out Global Agenda originally, they made a big deal about the fact that there were no elves. It was a sci-fi game. They made a huge deal.
Whoa,
about
whoa!
it.
Sci-fi can have elves. Look at the Vulcans. Come on.
There you go. Space elves.
I think a lot of people would like to disagree with you on that.
Dude.
All right, World of Tanks made $446 million in 2015. So we're gonna update these numbers when 2016 data comes out. But it's the 5th highest grossing like PC game, online PC game. So they can afford splashing $10 million on Super Bowl ads.
Nice.
So that was actually, I mean, obviously the Super Bowl itself was pretty interesting. I only saw the last quarter, so it was like the good bits of the game. I don't normally watch sports, but it was like the Super Bowl, and I was like, I think it was after our Sunday Fun Day video, so I'm like, I'll tune it on. So I watched towards the end. It was actually pretty interesting. It was apparently probably one of the biggest comebacks ever. So
Didn't
cool stuff.
watch a second of it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
No regrets.
I'm just glad I saw the ads. I'm still blown away that Evony is making a comeback in 2017. You know, after all their crazy ads back in the day.
You know, a lot of companies managed to quickly catch on that mobile was like the way to go with their a lot of the browser companies, and they're all doing pretty well with it. Some didn't catch on, and you know they kind of missed the boat. But so while we're still on mobile a bit here, I want to quickly show this. This college in California did a study on gender balance in mobile games. And unsurprisingly, girls tend to play Candy Crush while guys play Clash of Clans. I find that pretty interesting, if not obvious. 70% skew towards Clash of Clans for men, and the complete opposite for Candy Crush. So 70% of people who spend money on Candy Crush are women.
Wow.
So yeah, guys like competitive, like these
No surprise
fighting
there.
games, and girls like to waste time. That was my takeaway.
That's a takeaway. That's a takeaway. Girls waste time. We actually got something just came out earlier today, which I kind of want to mention too, because it's still fresh. We do have the NCSoft Q4 earnings report, but first, before we get to that, we have some information on Lineage Eternal. This game is actually they have a release date for South Korea. They're going to do another round of closed beta testing in the first half of the year, and then they're expecting an open beta / launch for the Korean version sometime in 2017. But probably the most interesting bit is the Western release date. There's still no Western release date, but it's going to come obviously after the Korean one. But they will be launching a mobile and PC version of Lineage Eternal at the same exact time, which is something we talked about before, and then they haven't mentioned at all since the original announcement.
But will they be cross-compatible?
I can't imagine not. Why not?
We'll
That
see.
was their whole gimmick,
that was
wasn't
their
Yeah.
gimmick. Yeah, that was their gimmick.
I thought they abandoned it. I was 100% sure that they abandoned it, and then here it is. We're going on mobile, and I'm looking at Lineage Eternal, like, how bad is this gonna look on the average mobile phone? Like, I'm pretty sure that Mobius Final Fantasy scales down the graphics a little bit, so I don't know if they're gonna do something similar or if it's just gonna be only for like the top end of phones, or it's gonna look terrible. But I mean, Lineage Eternal is a high quality graphics game. I don't see it working exactly as is on mobile.
I mean, take a look at the gameplay on mobile. I mean, there are some videos in the past, and I'm also showing some PC version too. You can see in a bit. But yeah, it's going to come out the same exact time. I mean, we finally have a concrete release date for the Korean not concrete, but they said 2017 is their goal. So I'm expecting a 2017 Western release is not out of the card. It's still in the cards, but you know, it's either going to be early 2018 or late 2017, as my guess. I mean,
I'm looking at these graphics, and I think mobile can pull it off.
I think so too.
What mobile is going to struggle with, I think, and it does with games like Ragnarok Online mobile as well, is kind of the interface. Like, I don't want to just click this wheel to move and one to attack. It just doesn't feel fluid to me. Maybe I'm just old. I don't know.
You're just old. That
Alright.
too. But I agree with
It's
you.
literally just the way controllers work. It's exactly the same.
It just feels off.
Honestly,
don't know.
I can't imagine playing an MMO with a controller either. So I guess it's just me.
Well, I mean, like games like Diablo work just fine on controller.
Hold up. Who here has played Diablo with a controller?
They have it, don't they, for console?
Yeah,
I haven't played it though.
PS4.
Really?
It works fine.
Really? You played? Oh my god. Why not PC?
PC for the win. Old man Altai, yeah.
That's like playing StarCraft for console.
Oh, the
I think
StarCraft
it's
console.
StarCraft
StarCraft
version?
on 64.
That sucked. It couldn't handle the lag.
StarCraft on 64.
All right. I mean, the good thing, we do have a release date for the Korean version. Hopefully, Western one comes out soon. I'm hyped for it. I think everyone is really hyped for Lineage Eternal.
Mhm.
I think that's by far the most hyped NCSoft game, isn't it, in the West? That's what people are interested about. Yeah, but there's information on Master X Masters coming out, another round of beta testing in Q2. So this summer, you can play Master X Master again. But the cool bit of information here is actually, as the earnings reports always come out, they do release these pretty slides showing off the revenue by franchise. So Lineage had an amazing jump. Lineage 2 is pretty flat, and most of their games are pretty flat, but there is one game missing. Can you guys see it?
I'll take a wild guess.
Aha! There it is.
WildStar.
Boy, that was good. Boy, Pun City over here.
WildStar is no longer reported on the sales breakdown for NCSoft's earnings. Previously, every quarter before this, since the game came out, they broke down sales per quarter. The most recent data we have is from last quarter, and, well, Q3, where they had about $958,000 in revenue. I mean, $958,000 may seem like a lot, but the whole company made $856 million last year. So for a company to make $958,000 a quarter for one of their games is nothing. It's a rounding error. It's not even close. Like, it's an absolute tiny portion of their revenue. It's not even 1% of their revenue, much less. Yeah.
It should be noted that this other category, which now includes WildStar, and you see a big jump here. So you know, at first glance, you might think it's WildStar being lumped in here that's causing this jump, but it is in fact not the case. This includes all their mobile games, of which they had a massive new launch, which did really well, and that's Lineage Red Knights here. So that fueled the majority of this jump in the other category.
And to illustrate, actually, you see that number 32,097. That's on other sales for the quarter. Those units are in millions of Korean wons. So again, last quarter, WildStar had 1.1 billion Korean wons. So instead of 31, it's 32 now. That's all of WildStar's numbers added to it. So it's like literally a tiny fraction, sliver of their other sales. But the big winner is Lineage, as it typically is. Look how much money
always
Lineage 1
forever.
makes. That is nuts.
Wow.
Blade and Soul's revenue for the full year was actually pretty good too. And they actually, at the end of the year, they released some cool numbers. So this next slide is actually their sales breakdown yearly by IP. So of course, WildStar is not here either, but you can see how all their franchises are doing on a year-over-year basis, because the quarter-over-quarter numbers are not always accurate, because there are fluctuations between quarters, and there are more sales and whatnot between, you know, various periods of time.
Here's a fun thing. Lineage 2 and Lineage are two different IPs.
Yeah.
And they actually treat them like two different IPs. I mean, they have different games for like the Lineage 2 IP and the Lineage IP. Just the weirdest shit.
And that applies to their mobile stuff too, yeah. Look at basically everything is increasing or flat. People are saying why is Guild Wars 2 not caught? Guild Wars 2 is doing much better. It's like if you look at Guild Wars 2's revenue in the last quarter, it doesn't look great. It was about 15 billion Korean wons, but that is 15 times more than WildStar. Okay, 15 times more than WildStar, and it's pretty close to Aeon too. Aeon did about 18 billion Korean wons. So Aeon and Guild Wars 2 are pretty close.
Yeah,
If
I had to guess between what's gonna go next, it'd be Aeon, not Guild Wars 2 actually, because Guild Wars 2 is very expansion driven, but retail expansion driven. So they have a new one coming up, so that's gonna boost sales. I think when that hits.
As far as I'm aware, Ion's still doing really well, not here.
Well, this is their global number.
Yeah, overall it did.
So it's actually doing less than Guild Wars in a non-expansion year. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it also is doing just under Lineage 2, and Lineage 2 has been around for ages.
Yeah, so I don't think either game is going to be cut at all. I mean, 72 and 77 billion Korean wons are a good chunk of change. That's like, again, 1 billion was about $1 million. So it's about $70 million a year. Neither of those games are in danger of being cut.
Yep.
But yeah, this just came out today, so it's pretty interesting. Every time we get these numbers, we'll update you guys on maybe the podcast or the news video, but I always find them pretty fascinating, especially when they break down exactly how each game is doing. I find that really interesting.
I mean,
Also,
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to change topics. Never mind.
Oh, one last thing. My most fascinating takeaway from all these every time is just how big Lineage 1 still is. Look at that number over there, 375. That makes it bigger than Lineage 2 and Aeon, and Guild Wars 2.
Add them up.
Yeah, add them up. Yeah, so that is something,
And look at some sick Lineage gameplay. I mean, you gotta show some Lineage gameplay over here. Look at this.
This game is carrying NCSoft. All right, those damage charts are off the charts. All right.
That is a really bad video, though. It is so blurry.
You know what? Let me do this. I got this.
All right.
Here we go.
Take it
Guild War right here.
All right, let's see it.
I have no idea what's going on.
Didn't want to show off our extremely fail Lineage 1 video.
Oh yeah, we did Lineage 1 for a Sunday Fun Day or something.
We certainly did.
No, because that has 4 screens. Don't show that.
Yeah, show this one. This one's better. This one's awesome. Look at this crazy guild battle.
Yeah,
this actually looks pretty nuts. Like I want to cast AoE spells with a huge crowd of people, right? Yeah, this shows that the old games are still making bank, all right? Old games like Lineage make bank.
How many new games could hold this many people on the screen and not lag?
Or crash? No, not many. There you go.
When is Lineage 1 coming to Steam?
Back in the day. Lineage 1 was on Steam.
It was taken off?
Yeah, it shut down in the West.
Shut down in the West.
When is it coming back?
I don't think it will.
It's not.
Nine Dragons is still around.
I have Lineage on Steam. I own it. All right, so before we get off the subject of finance, there are actually 2 more things that we have financial related. So first off, Netmarble increased its profits, like its sales in total, by 40.4% this year, and it is the first year actually that in the entire history of Netmarble that overseas sales have accounted for more than 50% of their sales, which is mostly because Seven Knights did really fucking well in Japan. So that basically drove their overseas sales. And as you guys may already know, Lineage 2 Revolution launched at the end of at the end of last year. Let's just say that. I can't remember exactly when it was. So it made a shit ton of money. It made 5 million on the first day and 40 million in the first 2 weeks. So it made a lot of money. So
that is
basically
nuts.
They've had a lot of major games in the past year that have driven their sales up 40%. I mean, so it's unprecedented.
It seems they're making a lot of these Lineage-based mobile games.
Yes.
I guess that alliance they had with Netmarble and NCSoft is bearing fruit because they initially got into that alliance to kind of ward off Nexon taking over NCSoft. So it looks like they made the right move there.
I mean, also, I want to mention that the 41 million is over 2 weeks. I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, we've been playing Conan Exiles these last week or 2 weeks, right, since it came out. That's a bit over a week. And Conan Exiles sold 320,000 copies. At full retail price, that's 9.7 million, right? A game like Conan Exiles made $9.7 million, whereas Netmarble's Lineage 2 Revolution made $41 million in 2 weeks. In one day, it made over 5 million. So
Well, you're in the next
crazy.
news.
Oh well, yeah, but look at the comparison, isn't it? Isn't that nuts? Like a mobile
Yeah.
game can make that kind of crazy profits. This is why everyone's going to mobile. I mean, it's no surprise that
No.
mobile rush is here.
And I just want to blow everyone's mind real quick. All right, so Netmarble, which is almost exclusive. Well, I think it is exclusively mobile now. If you guys don't know how much they made $1.3 billion this year. 1.3
That's more
billion.
than NCSoft. That's more than NCSoft.
Wow.
That was a lot more than NCSoft. And,
NCSoft was 890. It was close.
Well, I guess
It's
they
like
should.
40% more. What are you talking about?
It's
They made the
close.
same amount last year.
I guess.
It's-
Guess you could rename them Net Mobile.
Aha! There you go.
And it was also noted that they're working on a few other properties that you guys might find interesting. They're making mobile games for Blade and Soul, Terra, King of Fighters, G.I. Joe. And then they have all their other ones like Icarus M, Yokai Watch, Metal Wars, the Seven Knights MMORPG, Stone Age MMORPG, stuff like that. So yeah, I thought it was interesting that they're working on Blade and Soul and Terra.
Nuts.
Here's
So
a.
yeah, now that. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna move on to a new mobile game. So finish up if you have any.
Oh, I was just gonna, since Omer ruined the next topic, which was Conan Exiles, I just want to point
Related.
out, this is the first really big win that Funcom has had in a while because they've recouped all costs in a week.
Wow.
Wow.
That
they
is good.
recouped all development costs, which is like, I think this is the first time in Funcom's history that it's happened in a week.
I mean, it's worth showing this again. I mean, if look at this chart of Funcom stock we can show off in the podcast. With the launch of Conan Exiles, look at that massive jump. Basically, like at the beginning of the year, the company's stock was at $1.69 Norwegian kroner. Now it's at 537. Look at that. Put a 1 year chart. Look how nuts that looks. And that's all thanks to Conan Exiles. All right. Conan Exiles is saving this company.
So we have a good gauge of their budget, the cost of the game now. If 1 week recouped it.
Around 9 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. You want to take another mobile one?
Yeah,
Afterwards, I got a fun Kickstarter.
Sure. And yeah, we were talking about how much money Netmarble is making with the Lineage mobile games and whatnot. And I always thought how frustrating must it be for a company like EA or even Blizzard, before Hearthstone at least, when they spent years and all this money making a game, right? And they could only charge $60 for it once. And they're watching these fly-by-night, worthless, bejeweled clones charging like $200 in a microtransaction shop, right? How seething and like angry must that make them? So EA finally caved. They have a mobile game called Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. It's a collectible card game RPG, and they released some new heroes for this game, which cost $1,100 to get. And you cannot unlock them by playing the game. Old heroes you can, the new ones you can't.
$1,100 for one hero? Is it like really
For a new
broken?
hero.
For the new one, there's two new heroes. To make them, apparently the way the game works is I guess a little bit like Clash Royale, where you have to upgrade the same card multiple times. And I think this figure includes making the unit playable in PvP, so not just owning it. That's the gimmick here.
But holy crap! I mean, I think what you said is true. But for the most part, we haven't seen Western companies kind of milking free to play the way we've seen a lot of Asian companies doing it. And I do agree, they are probably really envious and like kind of like upset that they can't monetize the same way these Asian companies can. Not just Asian too. Supercell is what is it? Norwegian, Swedish? They're somewhere in the Nordic area. Finland. There you go. The fact that they can do it too, and like, I think we mentioned this before. Like a game like Overwatch. If you love Overwatch, you love like Diablo 3. Like, how much money can you possibly spend in that game if you're ready to go all out? Not that much. You can get everything pretty quick. You can't spend more than like $300 on Overwatch. Like, and that's if you just go crazy and buy lots of loot boxes. Like, and you'll get everything you want. So this is why they're doing it.
Yep.
I think we're gonna see more and more. EA, Blizzard, typical Take-Two, and all these Western companies embrace the model of milking the whales.
I'm really looking forward to this year as the year Blizzard gives us a big mobile game, because they bought King last year, and we haven't seen anything come out of that yet. And they must be working on something behind closed doors right now. I just don't know what it's gonna be.
All right, guys, I want to seize it for an interesting Kickstarter. I'm not. It's not nearly as shitty as some of the other Kickstarters we covered in the past, but I think it's kind of funny. All right, so. We talked about what takes a good Kickstarter, what takes a bad Kickstarter. This at least, like, look, you gotta give these guys some credit, all right? Look at that gameplay video they're showing, all right? It's like RPG Maker or something, right? But there's something. You see a character moving around. There's a little bit of combat. So there's something here, you know? It looks like it's functional something. I mean, I think this is actually better than like the Unreal assets we've seen in a lot of like Kickstarters that raised like over $1 million, all right? It's like Chronicles of Valeria and whatnot. But at least like there's something here. But what's really funny about this Kickstarter is some of their pledges and their official website. So after you skim through the video a little bit, if you scroll down, if you donate $1 to them, if you mention $5 to them, they will follow you on Twitter. What a deal, guys! You want to get some expensive Twitter followers? You donate $5 to Eternal Chaos, and they're gonna follow you on Twitter. Right?
Final Chaos.
I can get 1,000 Ethiopians for that price. Come on.
But I think my favorite part is look at their website, okay? It's called Chaos Happens. And just look how disgusting this website is. This is like straight from 1999. Like, look at the free game on the App Store. Peaceful Conflict, free game. Game-breaking news, guys. Look at that game-breaking news. That news is so intense, it's game-breaking.
I don't know. I've seen worse sites. What's wrong with the site?
This is so ugly. Look at the way how many times they spam on the left side.
It's not
The
pretty,
free
but
games.
like I said, I've seen worse.
But why does he have the loop on the left side? Like it's like the same thing almost. It just seems
The game
nonsensical.
playable?
Some other game is, but not the one he's raising. I don't think the one he's raising Kickstarter money for is playable just yet.
Oh, he's got a lot of games. Let's see Peaceful Conflict here.
Oh, it's like a risk kind of game without any combat, and you vote to see who wins or something.
What?
Wait, you guys are making fun of the website design, but you didn't even notice Chaos Happens with a Z.
And look at that logo. All right, look. At least he's got something. I just thought it was the website design was pretty silly. Though I actually would like a game that has the art style that we saw in his actual Kickstarter video. I like that like 2D look, you know, the RPG Maker look a lot. So if somebody can make an MMO with that graphics, I think it might do decent, you know.
All right, you know what?
There have been tons of games with those graphics, and they never do decent.
I played. They gotta have more substance too. There was that other I did a first look video for it too. It had the very Zelda graphics, but it was. I actually played it for like 2 hours after I did my video out of interest, but it didn't have like any depth.
Anyway, I'm with you now. I initially defended the website, but I tried to click a picture and browse through these pictures, and this has the most archaic interface for like these picture browsing that I've ever seen.
Really?
So I cannot defend this.
No longer defending them?
No, I can no longer defend this. I'm sorry.
Guys, Chaos Happens with a Z. But yo, if you want some followers, just give these guys $5. They'll follow you on there. If you give $1, they give you a thank you email, and they'll give you their eternal gratitude. That's my favorite, eternal gratitude. All right. So like 5 years from now, if I find this guy in the street, I'll be like, yo, they'll be like, oh my god, thank you so much, right? Do I still get his eternal gratitude like 10 years from now?
Let's see what the maximum donation is here. All right, 5,000.
What do you get for 5,000?
Your name on one of the daily bosses. One of a kind icon on Chaos Happens forums. What?
I think you meant forums. On forums, like your contact form, you know, the submit button. It's got your name. It's kind of one of a kind icon. What?
Beautiful game right here.
I like that. I like the where does all the look go, right? Look at over the top bar, and they have 25% goes towards skillful programming. Not that shitty programming, right? It's all about that skillful programming. Hey, what is a golden hammer? 10% goes towards golden hammers. All right, but I mean, at least they got something, right? They got something. I'm looking at some of the titles they worked on based on their website. I find it hard to believe they worked on Medal of Honor.
They made a mod. They made a mod for it.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, it's not nearly as bad as some of the other Kickstarters we've seen. But I just thought the website was hilarious.
My favorite part is this pie chart you mentioned. This was made on this was made on Microsoft Office 1995.
Along with the website.
And the game.
Yeah, there you go. The game.
Maybe this game was actually in production back in 1995, and now they're just trying to revive it.
Maybe.
Which
There you
explains
go.
the webs. Because when we see websites like this, and you know, I just can't fathom, you know, what the thought process behind it.
No.
Go ahead.
Well, see, the thing is, he's on a Windows 95 computer because he couldn't upgrade because Extreme Worlds doesn't work on 64-bit PCs.
They need some more skillful programming, all right? That's what they need. They need to
Maybe
fund their
it's-
skillful programming.
Maybe it's avant-garde or something. It's just too cultural for us, and we just don't understand like the beauty and simplicity or beauty in scrolling text on a site with old games.
That must be it.
You know that a game is trying too hard to have culture when even Sean doesn't get it.
No. We have another old game to look at too, which is pretty silly. We mentioned it earlier too, and I thought this was worth mentioning because Nine Dragons is coming back, guys. Nine Dragons. This game was originally published by Acclaim Games ages ago, and I think when they shut down, I forgot who picked it up afterwards. Was it
Suba Games? I think I just looked this up today.
It might have been Games Campus, wasn't it?
Game Campus before Suba, I think. Yeah.
And then Suba.
Red Fox was publishing.
I know, but
Nine
before
Dragons.
that.
Before
Oh,
that.
okay.
Before that.
Yeah, I think it was Games Campus, and then Suba Games was 2011, so it had to have been Suba Games first.
Okay, and then
then
eventually,
Games came
yes. The funniest part about this, I mean, it's not really the game coming back on Steam. That's really anything new. But if you look at and you scroll down to their review section, right? Like every game on Steam, a lot of games, they put quotes from critics praising their game, right? They find quotes and they say positive things that you see on the movie posters, right? Like breathtaking, ... truly wonderful experience, mesmerizing, right? You see that on the movie posters, right? And games will do stuff like that too. But look at the quotes they chose. I guess I feel like Gumby, you should take this because they quoted you.
I can't see it on the stream. Go ahead, just read it because I can't. I
Okay.
can't see it
So
on
the top review quote is Nine Dragons is undoubtedly past its prime, but its core gameplay manages to hold its own while innovating some mechanics through its minigames and wide variety of classes. So
That's from MMOs.com.
Past
That
its
is
prime.
Gumby's review.
This is Gumby's quote right here, and the best part is the first few words. Nine Dragons is undoubtedly past its prime.
There's no doubt.
And the next quote is Nine Dragons is above average. So you have imagine a movie poster. It's undoubtedly past its prime, but it's okay. And on the next line, above average. I feel bad for them that they had to reach for those quotes. They couldn't find anything nicer to say. But that.
Yeah. I don't know why they do that, and it's weird because the people that run Red Fox specifically made Red Fox to like take over certain Games Campus games.
Mhm.
You'll remember that one of the guys was an ex-Games Campus guy, so I mean clearly they give a shit on some level, right?
Yeah.
They form an entirely new company for games that aren't making like relatively as much money as the other ones without any promise of Black Desert in their future. You know what I mean? That happened, but there was no promise. When it
Yeah.
So, I mean, to give a crap about the game and to take that entire quote and throw it on the page where everyone's going to read past its prime and go next in the queue, it's just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
But you could have found something better than that. I'm sure in Gumby's review there was another sentence that's like more glowing they could have taken. But even the last quote, actually, the MMO Huts quote, it's Nine Dragons managed to add innovation to a tried and true formula. That's probably the best quote in there, right? It's positive. And do you know who wrote that quote? That was Erhan back in 2009. If you click on that link, it takes you to the Nine Dragons review on MMO Huts. In 2009, Erhan wrote that review. So that was the most glowing part of that review.
Oh, if only we wrote the second quote too. We could have dominated the 9-page. Nine Dragons.
We could have had all three.
Oh, I did write this. I forgot about this.
Yeah, if you click on it, it'll tell
Yeah,
you.
it has my name on it still.
But yeah, I mean, the game is coming back. I know Nine Dragons does have some fans out there, which is why Red Fox picked it up. And now you can play it on Steam. It's really nice. It is just unfortunate that they couldn't find better quotes, but they're... I mean, I like that they quoted us and they link back to MMOs.com. But I mean, when you want to focus on your accolades, your good shit, you don't want to mention it's undoubtedly past its prime in there.
You want to know, Nine Dragons, though, like you said, has a dedicated community. And I didn't mind it because as soon as I joined in, there was some veteran that was just waiting for new players. And they immediately try and teach you and talk to you. And people are passionate about Nine Dragons.
But is that a sign of desperation? Like when you go to a newbie zone, it's like there's like 10 max level players just sitting there pouncing on every newbie that comes in. Let me help you.
I gotta say, I won't call it desperation. I don't think you could call it something from the player desperation. It kind of, I don't know. It shows there's there's someone who wants to have a community there.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, Nine Dragons is one of those games where you walk around and you come upon a field and you just see like 40, 50 mobs hanging out. I put a picture in from my playthrough. And then they're just hanging out in a corner, not doing anything. And then as you walk around the Nine Dragons world, you just see pockets of mobs. They're just chilling stoically, hanging out.
They're
This
called,
is what the whole game looks like.
They're called Moonblade kids. What the
Yeah.
fuck? They're timid Moonblade kids, right? They're just chill. They're so timid. They're just standing there with their weapons,
They're all
standing there.
meditating.
Look, I have a rule of thumb. When a Steam game page refuses to show any actual gameplay, that's when I pass on it, all right? Look at those trailers. Every single video they show on the Steam page doesn't have any gameplay. It's only when you scroll past those 5 trailers can you actually see something in-game. There's no video in-game, and even the screenshots have no interface, right? But when the game is trying that much to hide the interface, the actual game, it's typically not a good sign. It's not good.
So if you need something to do on Valentine's Day, go ahead and play Nine Dragons. If you want to meet that special someone.
If you want to be forever alone and cement your status as forever alone, go download Nine
If you're
Dragons.
trying to be a Grand Wizard, play Nine Dragons on Valentine's Day.
Look, somebody out there found love in Nine Dragons. I guarantee
No,
it, right?
I think it's fine to love Nine Dragons. If that's your game, if that's what you grew up playing, if that's the one, just like, everyone, there's always someone who likes each game. There's some games I can't fathom why you like them, but Nine Dragons, I can understand.
Like that guy who loved RF Online. Remember a couple
Exactly.
weeks ago? He said he still maintains the best game ever. So I'm
Yeah.
sure there are people that say Nine Dragons is the best game ever because it's probably, their first few MMO experiences.
Now,
That
if
is
you told
always-
me, like, anything Derek Smart made, then
No, those are Derek Smart's favorite games, Matt. Come on, right?
That's true. There's always someone.
I
Like the-
somehow doubt that he actually plays any of them.
Hey Gumbo, I just had a revelation. At least
Online?
one.
Go ahead.
I was thinking that too.
At
Go ahead.
least somebody, one person, has read reviews we wrote. In order to pull these quotes.
You know, I was thinking that I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to say, boy, it sure feels good to know that my review was at least read. But I guarantee they just scrolled to the conclusion so that they could pick out. They weren't going to read the whole thing. There's too much text there.
And it's worth mentioning because we do have full reviews on MMOs.com on our game pages, but it's pretty clear most of the people that come to our website, they read the overview, they read the pros and cons, right? Very few people read the entire full review. They'll scroll down to the score as well, right? But it's nice to see that some people do read them. If anything, the people scouring for quotes to use.
Yeah, somebody got paid like $14 an hour maybe to read my review. Feels good, man.
That's more than you got paid to write the review.
That's true. That was back in the hustling days.
All right, that's enough. That's enough, Nine Dragon.
All right. Let's talk to a fun story.
Please.
Fun story, guys. This is, again, we've mentioned stuff like this in the past before, but there's a university in Ohio, a small private liberal arts university that officially added an eSports program to their athletic program. So eSports is a part of their athletic curriculum now, and it's joining one of 30 other schools across the country to offer eSports programs, which is pretty nuts. I mean, I feel like I was born at the wrong time, all right? I feel like I could have gotten a scholarship, or I don't claim I'll be pro. I don't think I have any potential to be pro. But out of high school, I think I would have had potential to get a scholarship for one of these schools to play on their athletic program, you know?
Do you know what the next announcement was? It was a letter sent to all the parents of the kids who go to school telling them that they're raising tuition by $2,000 so they can afford to build the buildings for their esports teams.
Wow.
The new stadium.
You know,
It's still worth.
We got a buddy whose little brother actually was offered a full ride at one of the University of California schools for a League of Legends scholarship.
Wow.
And here's the funny part: he turned it down.
Yeah. And his name is Beautiful Korean in League of Legends. That's his in-game name. He streams once in a while. He's pretty, decently well known. He's got an Esportspedia article about him. So you can show off the Beautiful Korean. I'll drop it in here. But he did turn that down. Which is nuts.
I got a different bookmark for Beautiful Korean. It's not this.
Oh, I see. You finding some Korean other stuff over there.
And I've never seen this kid. I know his brother, but I've never actually seen a picture of him.
We're good friends with his brother.
Oh.
But yeah, he turned it down because his words were, "Oh, the team there sucks dick. I'll go to school for free, but the team there is actually really bad." So he said if he went to the UC school where he got a free ride, he would get the free ride and benefit that way, but it would not further his esports career of wanting to be like a pro gamer, because that team is too bad to get good. So he wants to go to a different school where the team is better, but he's got to pay for it. So he is really putting his esports ahead of his education. All right, he knows his priorities. I can respect that.
I just can't wait for the calls where it's like, all right, so your school, your kids are too out of shape. What's going on here? We need to funnel more money into your athletics department. All right, guys, we can't funnel any more money into the athletics department. We're already spending 75% of our budget on the athletics department. Please just ease off. Okay, then what are you doing wrong? Maybe you should hire some new employees. Well, you see, the problem is it's all going into computers.
More money equals more computers and more snacks. That's nuts. But yeah, I really feel like if I wish I was kind of born like before that, where like this shit just starts taking off. I wish I was kind of in high school now, and I feel like I would have had a lot more fun, and I probably would have enjoyed college a lot more. I mean, I did drop out. I probably would have stayed longer if I could get that full scholarship for esports.
I'm still not sold on esports. I see it more as League, Counter-Strike, and Dota. It's not really it's not anything beyond that yet, I don't think.
Call of Duty is a massive esport still.
Really?
Yeah, it's a handful of games that are dominating it right now. But I mean,
think Wargaming is really trying to get World of Tanks into the esports market.
it doesn't work in America. They've been trying in America.
Trying is one thing. Like Here's the Storm is trying too, but it's not really working.
I mean, my brother and I were actually kind of walking randomly towards it's on the street, and we walked to one of the casinos to get past it, and we saw like these skimpily clad ladies dressed in like army uniforms, like what's going on here, right? And they're holding out like signs, Wargaming Grand Championship, right, for World of Tanks, and they were literally giving out tickets to everyone for free because they couldn't fill the venue. So we're like, okay, cool, we'll go. Like we had no intention of going, but when you have to like give out tickets to your venue for free, just on the street, typically you don't have too much hype, at least in the West. I'm sure you got some stream viewers, but the actual like venue itself was kind of sad. It was filled with like the only people there were like the parents of the kids playing. And like, we were there because there's a free drawing at the end. We get a free computer, but we didn't win the computer, so we left.
There was
but
like
we were there until the drawing.
There was like one old guy there who was like a player, and he's just like, I can't compete with them, but I like watching the pros. He's like chatting me up. He's like, are you competing next? I'm like, no, I'm just watching.
It was still fun, because it was free.
Yeah,
but they're trying.
What? South Park told me that there's no such thing as fun and free.
I like the South Park free-to-play episode. It was fun.
Never saw it.
Oh wow! All right. Speaking of people watching, guys, what about Faker streaming League of Legends? All right. How many? You guy got 250,000, 245,000 concurrent viewers in one shot.
It was 249.
That's nuts. That's more than like most tournaments get. Like how? Like I understood Faker was a big deal in the League of Legends community, but like that big of a deal? Holy crap! If only we got that many viewers, guys.
Yeah.
we got 130.
Maybe
Let's settle.
Maybe a lot of those views were fake. No.
If we got, you don't want that many viewers because then we're gonna have a website set up for us. It's gonna be like live MMOs.com fact checking. You know how all through the election they have those websites.
Yeah.
It's like go here right now and fact check everything that he's saying. That'd be us. That would be us if we had.
But Matt, you forget.
My facts come from within, all right? My facts come from within.
What you didn't mention, Matt, was the fact that the guy who kept lying through his teeth won. So the fact checking clearly didn't matter.
There you go. That's pretty funny, actually. Who needs facts, guys? All right, facts are whatever you want them to be at the time. All right. All right.
When is alternative facts gonna die as a meme? And we'll get back to real facts.
Not for a while.
At least for 8 years.
All right.
I'm not willing to accept that he's going to be president for 8 years.
You're venturing crossing the line.
Crossing the line. It's
Illusions are fine.
All right. Speaking of revelations that Erhan was talking about earlier, all right, we got some real revelations here for Revelation Online. The closed beta 3 got extended to February 9th, and this is going to lead to some speculation time, guys. All right. The reason they extended the beta was because they said not enough players got to level 69 to explore the game's high-level content. All right, that makes me think that the next round of beta is going to be open beta. Are we sure about that though? I just feel like they wouldn't have extended it if like the next one wasn't going to be open beta because
I don't know. The last one was extended too, I think, wasn't it?
Okay, here's my thing. Didn't they launch in China with like 99 levels?
Yo, what is the deal with that? I hate when games pull that shit off. Like they're launching in if they did launch in China with 99 levels, why the frick is level 69 max in the Western version?
Well, it's not. It's the
We don't
closed
know
beta
that it
max.
is max.
All right, it's the
But-
closed beta max. That's true.
That's only under the assumption that level 69 is the max, and they're doing the last test right now. I mean, that's only under that assumption, but I'm pretty sure they launched with 99 levels in China, and I saw somebody say something about that.
What is
Pretty
the,
sure.
What was the max when you guys played during the first beta?
40?
40?
49.
First.
49.
They like their nines.
Yeah, so I think they're just
69.
So then I think there will be another one. A max level one maybe. Like
But 4 rounds of closed beta seems like a push. I think after 3.
Sky Saga.
Sky Saga's in like 13 rounds of alpha. That's different, right? But like 4 rounds of closed beta.
I'm
Usually
telling
2
you
or
guys,
3 is the
that's
max.
still not the same thing. It's not
Oh!
4 rounds of closed beta. It's a version number.
No, but no, they
No,
said
no,
it's
no.
alpha in the email.
they
remember?
said at some point they want to get into open beta, which means this is before beta.
I didn't mean to straw man us. I'm sorry, guys.
It's a version number.
No, we talked about this last time. It was in the email, Matt. It was in the email.
Yeah, but it never goes offline. Closed betas like this, they change, they go down, and they come back up later.
I have some speculation to bring us back on topic.
Alright.
Is the reason why the max level 69 because they just never finished translating the rest of the content?
Probably.
Well,
That's
maybe.
my guess.
Hmm.
I mean, they didn't do a great job of getting it translated before they put it out the first time. I mean, I saw that, and I literally, like, the moment I loaded it up, and I saw Chinese and Russian text on the screen at the same time, I was like, what the fuck are you doing, my.com?
There are still things that are not translated. I mean, it's
Are you
playable, right? It's
kidding
nowhere
me?
near. There are still things that are not translated in CBT3.
Really?
What are
Certain
they
UI elements as you
doing?
browse the character sheet. Like one of them has to do with your PvP power, I think.
Mhm.
I could check right now actually, and I'll take a screenshot. But yeah, it's still not translated.
But I don't get that. Like, listen, the interface should be the first thing that gets translated. Like, that is number 1 on the list. Like, how is that not done yet?
Come on, there are literally every other game that's come out in the West has had almost everything translated by the time the first closed beta comes around. This is just
Yeah.
unbelievably dumb.
Yeah,
I
it's pretty
mean,
nuts.
If anything isn't translated in every other game, it's like end game content that they just left out because they didn't think anybody was going to make it anyways.
I noticed
mean,
the
yeah.
hype train died down a lot for this game.
Do you see a lot less players online?
Difficult to tell. No, because you go into town and you see shops all over the place, like AFK shops or whatnot. So it's hard to judge. And I typically turn other players off because I think it's too much of a clusterfuck. Yeah, right here. I'll
honestly,
take
though,
a
yeah.
screenshot.
I think it's pretty nuts that, like, even doing 3 rounds of closed beta testing, you lose so much of the hype, right? I think hype is pretty important. But, like, you lose so much of that hype when you do 3 rounds of testing. Like, again, the first round of testing was insanely popular because everyone's curious about this game, right? And people are going to lose interest if you keep wiping them and having them do 3 rounds of beta testing like that.
Wow.
Like, I don't know what they're thinking. 1 round of beta testing is enough, okay? And just after that, just get out there.
1 round of beta testing isn't even enough for 4 honors, so no, I don't think it's enough.
I don't know. For me, fix it on open beta, okay? I think the most important thing is get something out there that works. And you fix it as you go.
I think you're
That's it.
speaking purely from the consumer side of things, though, not really like considering the implications behind that.
Okay.
ahead.
Here's my take. Having anything untranslated, even in closed beta 1, is unacceptable.
Look at this.
It's not
It's just weird.
Yeah,
Like
but
one
that's
tab isn't
different.
translated.
They
That's
don't
different.
need feedback on this. Like, oh really? I don't have to have a player comment to know that I shouldn't have a language people can't read in front of their screen. Like I don't understand what.
Okay, but that's not what Omer was saying.
Well, that's a little separate, yeah. I'm saying it just seems even like a bad business decision. I mean, obviously they should have a lot of it done in that first round of closed beta testing, but they're doing themselves, I think, a giant disservice to launch a closed beta that was so unfinished that they had to do a second one and a third one, right? If the first round of closed beta was a little bit more polished and they actually test what they wanted to test and get feedback, the moment you do round 2, round 3, round 4, players lose interest.
Yep, I agree with that.
I think there's even more players overall. I mean, obviously, the game, the way it was shaping up and the way the translations were done, they had to do a second one because they just weren't ready. So I think one round of closed beta testing that's more comprehensive, and then boom, right to open beta. Ideally, just get something out there, fix it as it goes. And I understand it's not perfect, but people want to play, and don't let them play different games. You know, a lot of people that would have played Revelation might be playing something else now. You know, let them get hooked on your game.
I still don't think you're just. I still just don't think you're looking at this from every angle.
Are you assuming that they're doing it? The people that fail to translate things are doing it perfectly? Their decision?
I'm not saying the translation thing. I'm saying it takes more than one closed beta to get most things up and functional in a way that's not going to drive people off at launch.
I mean, depends how they roll it out. I'm sure there are games that have only done one round of closed beta testing that did fine, and there are games that did 5 and then they did fine. You know, it goes either way. But I think ideally you have one round. Ideally, that one round is just really
ideally
well done.
you wouldn't need one. It would just work.
There you go.
But,
That's
not how
true.
the world works.
Plenty of games I think do it without 3. 3 is a stretch. I think 1 and 2 you see, but you rarely see 3 rounds of closed beta testing. We're already into the realm of rare when you're doing 3 rounds of closed beta testing.
If you look at the top games, none of them had these kind of repeated closed betas. So I don't know.
Even a closed beta 2 isn't always common. I mean, it was always closed beta 1 and then open beta usually. That's usually how it worked. Even the closed beta 2 was like an oddball too. We're seeing more common now though with Moo Legend doing their closed beta 2 as well. And we're speaking ideally we'd have as much viewers as Faker too. All right, ideally. But yeah, I mean, hopefully open beta is around the corner. No word on that just yet though. But I can't imagine them doing more than if they do a closed beta 4, it'll be nuts. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Have they promised open beta this year?
I don't know what they promised, but I think we'll definitely have it.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, already, and they cannot push this back anymore, in my opinion.
All right.
People say half the features aren't in the game yet either. I mean, that's odd though. Like again, I think a lot of even with Nexon and Rise of Icarus, it was a bit odd to have that unbelievably low level cap at launch. It was like level 20. I think Matt and Aaron both got that level 20 cap pretty easily. But so hopefully they launch with enough content, right? I hate seeing giant gaps in content between the Chinese versions or the foreign version and the Western versions. But if they launch with half the features not in the game, that's gonna suck. Yeah. Revelation, guys.
Speaking of
Revelation.
publishers and developers, Dirty Bomb.
Developers.
Nexon is being abandoned by Dirty Bomb.
Poor Nexon.
And this is an interesting trend, actually. We've seen it several times so far. Atlantica Online is no longer with Nexon.
Well, they dropped that.
A couple years
Yeah,
ago.
that was their decision.
Yeah, I know. But Dungeon Fighter Online was dropped or whatever.
Not
They dropped
really.
that.
It was the company that's publishing Dungeon Fighter Online is literally an internal studio owned by Nexon.
Well, remember, Nexon Korea. And my point I was getting at is Nexon America struggling? Is there some operational issues there? And I'm going to speculate
No.
yes.
No, Atlantica and Dragon Nest were both said to not be doing well.
And
when they
Dragon
were
Nest,
still-
yeah, that's another one right there. So I don't know. I think
Well-
they're shedding games pretty quick over there at Nexon these days.
No, I think it's fair to say they might be struggling. Why not?
Because they specifically said that the games weren't doing well, and you could look at population counts if you went into the games, and they were pretty low.
Well, part of their job as a publisher is to get people to play it. If they can't do that, then they're not doing that well.
I mean, actually, we can look at this up objectively. I mean, we do cover Nexon's earnings when they publish them, and they break down their revenue by region, right? So we can see their U.S. revenue, and we can compare it quarter over quarter how it's been doing. They don't compare it on their own page, but we can look at data, which I'm going to pull up in a bit. But they did say specifically, Nexon did say they wanted to do a lot more business in America, so they're going to do a lot of acquisitions in America. So they're taking America seriously. They're not going to be pulling back. But it is odd to see that Splash Damage is like, nope, we're going to do this on our own.
And this was a decision by Splash Damage, the studio behind Dirty Bomb, rather than Nexon ditching them this time around.
Maybe they've seen a lot of other companies doing the independent thing and thought they could do it too.
One of their big concerns, and a concern for players, I don't know if there are any in the chat, is hackers. So one of the first things they said is they're going to ditch the current anti-cheat and go with a more popular, well-known one called Easy Anti-Cheat. So I guess Nexon, and that's part of the job of the publisher, right? Kind of keep the hackers out, which they have been failing to do. I also have read the forums for Warrock, which is also published by Nexon now, and people make the same complaint that there are hackers running amok, and Nexon either can't or is not capable of taking care of the hacker problem.
All right. Actually, to get to the numbers too, it looks like Nexon North America sales have increased 5% as reported and 24% year over year with constant currency, with currency adjustments in mind. So that's actually still a good, a pretty giant leap, 24%. So no, Nexon America is growing, at least as of the last 2 years. They've been growing. So that's definitely good. They're doing well. I was wrong. And actually, a fun fact about people that for splash damage, the guys that do that make Dirty Bomb, if that's the game that they're separating with. Obviously, Dirty Bomb itself is not going to really change too much. Everything for players will be largely the same. Only thing that's going to change is the backend will be handled now by Splash Damage themselves. The developer actually is owned by the same Chinese studio that owns Digital Extremes, which publishes Warframe. So both Warframe and Dirty Bomb are owned by the same company now.
Wow.
Liu Interactive.
Crossover event coming soon.
Is that 100%?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Is that 100% or a partial ownership?
No, it should be 100%. They own 100% of Warframe as well, so.
Yeah. I mean, you know what the good thing about the Chinese are? So far, they've been very hands-off. Whether it's Tencent with Riot or Supercell, or this this chicken company with Warframe or Splash Damage, they've been pretty hands-off. So that's good.
I think that's hella smart. If they try micromanaging it, it's going to be a disaster. I think they realize that the companies that they buy typically know what they're doing. So the guys that own like Jagex do it, another Chinese company. It's a Chinese real estate company owns Jagex, which is pretty nuts. But they're leaving them alone to do their own thing,
They must have read from good to great. You know that?
Wow.
You put people in the seat and you leave them the hell alone. Profit. Done.
But what's nuts is how much they paid out. I think about $170 million to buy Splash Damage. $170 million. That's a good chunk of change.
Can we get some of that, please?
Yeah, please. Send us buy me too for buy MMOs.com for $170 million, please. All right.
If you pay $100 million, we'll update
every
your
viewer
score.
gets $1 million. All right, we got 130 viewers. Everyone gets $1 million. All right, boom. All right, we all get $1 million too each, and then we make it rain with the rest. All right.
So, in more company news, Crytek is still letting people go because as they moved Warface over to my.com recently, which you guys may or may not know about, and in the process, they let 15 employees from the former Warface publishing team go, and then folded the rest of them into other projects. So, Crytek is still letting people go every chance they can get right now, which, I mean, they may be redundant because they had publishing duties and my.com took those over, but they're insistent that most of the people that were involved in the publishing team have been folded into other things. So that makes you wonder, if 15 were let go, how many were in that publishing team if most of them stayed?
Bloat. Another speculation here. I think Crytek is getting itself ready for an acquisition. An acquirer would only be interested in their core engine technology. So they're kind of hiving away the useless stuff like the publishing arm. There are other development arms overseas, like they let go a bunch of like studios in like Eastern Europe. So I think they're getting ready to make themselves a nice juicy morsel for somebody.
Interestingly, they are still publishing Warface themselves in Turkey.
Yep. There was a rumor that they got like a $200 million or $500 million like investment from the Turkish government to keep them afloat, but who knows?
Also, I thought there was already speculation that Amazon bought them.
Oh yeah, for the lumber yard thing.
That's
Yeah,
not.
that was already...
No, I don't think they bought them, but that's my speculation on who will buy them.
Oh, you think Amazon will buy them?
I think Amazon will buy Crytek eventually.
Once they shed all the
all the useless stuff. Yeah.
Possible. Their game Warface is being picked up by my.com. Again, my.com is really pushing into like all of a sudden we have my.com going all out basically on Western releases because they're owned by mail.ru and they publish a lot of games in Russia. But now they're picking up Warface. They're launching Cloud Pirates. So actually, that's a bit of news for Cloud Pirates too, worth mentioning. Cloud Pirates is rolling around relatively soon. There should be a Steam early access coming in the next, I think, next week or so.
2
But-
days.
In 2 days, there you go. But yeah, and obviously Revelation as well. I think their biggest game is going to be Revelation. That's where they seem to be putting most of their efforts, because we don't hear too much about Cloud Pirates, even though that is almost like a firm release date, not early access date, right? So I think they're going all in on this Revelation. So we're going to see how that does.
All right. Any other interesting stuff? What's our? Go ahead.
Oh, I thought this was funny. Jeff Kaplan pretty much came out against the use of keyboards and mice on consoles, but because he doesn't want people modding their consoles to use a keyboard and mice to play Overwatch, because it creates an unfair advantage. And right now, both PlayStation 4 and Xbox don't support keyboard and mouse natively. You have to mod the consoles. So it basically, top players are probably sitting there with a keyboard and mouse in front of their PS4, bucking shots against players with their controllers. I can't imagine what a feeling of power that is. You're, like trying to play against someone, and I'm just imagining like an FPS game. I know Overwatch isn't a straight up FPS, but the finesse of the mouse is far different than the controller. And I correct me if I'm wrong, right? Basically, unless the consoles themselves support keyboard and mouse, he doesn't want to see it happen.
Yes, there are currently
right?
third-party mouse and keyboards that go through a weird adapter to be played online. And he says that's not fair because the average player might not know about these. So he's not saying I don't want to allow it at all. He's just saying if the first-party companies, if Sony and Microsoft do allow it, I think they just want to sell mouse and keyboards for consoles.
Right.
At least that way it's a fair match.
But I think by saying it's not fair, it is clear that mouse and keyboard is just a massive advantage. That's worth saying.
Yeah.
Okay, mouse and keyboard is just. But I mean, people do play Call of Duty and stuff with a controller for a long time, and I'm sure some people swear that the controller is better. Don't you think?
No.
Nobody says controller is better. Come on.
No. The thing is, on the console versions, including Overwatch, there's like a slight auto aim to help you. Because the controllers suck so bad. So that kind of compensates for it. The fact that
It's not because it sucks. It's because it doesn't have the same level of precision.
Yeah.
Potato.
There you go. Potato.
It's like I don't suck as a pilot. I just don't have the same precision when I land. You know?
That is not the same thing at all.
I like that example. I don't have the same precision when I land. You crash. It's
Just the joystick and a way that you make it comfortable to use, it can't have the same precision as a mouse.
Exactly. That sucks.
It sucks at aiming. All right. There you go. It sucks at being precise. But I mean, I can't. I mean, it is unfortunate because I imagine all the top players, all of them, are using mouse and keyboard. So can they fix this? Can they disable? Like, if they want it, can they disable it?
No,
on the
can't.
patch?
No, because it emulates
Oh.
the input.
It's
of
going
a,
through the same input.
controller.
Yeah.
Could they ban people? Can Overwatch actually ban people for cheating, or is it just PSN and stuff that can do that?
I think they can ban
I
people.
have no idea.
It doesn't have to be for cheating. They can just. I think they can just ban it for. They can just claim it's like harassment or.
Oh, yeah, but is that is it their is it their mission to do that, or do they leave it for PSN to do that? I'm curious. I don't know.
I
That's
have
why.
no idea.
I think they do it. I don't think PSN would police all these little games. You know, they don't want it. It's too much work.
But can you get banned specifically from one game then
Probably.
on console?
I think so. And here's
I
why.
don't
I mean,
know.
Yeah.
I think so only because there's no way Sony is gonna sign up to police like Bejeweled competitive multiplayer 3. You know, like
Yeah, that's true.
Who am I gonna submit claims to? Like they're not gonna deal with that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because you don't really hear about people getting banned on consoles, right? Like I never hear about people getting banned on
You
consoles
do.
for cheating. Really?
I heard about
I hear
that
about
back
PC all the time.
on Halo days. I used to hear about that. Yeah.
All right. I don't follow my console gaming too much, unfortunately. And I know this is a bit late, but I mean, I kind of wanted to bring up very briefly what we did play this week. So actually, my brother and I have both been playing Tales of Berseria this last week, the new Tales game.
Berseria? Is it Berseria?
Berseria.
It's Berseria.
Berseria. I am awful at pronouncing, but I've been a fan of the Tales series for a while. My favorite in the series still is Vesperia. Anyone played that, they'll probably agree with me. But I'm enjoying it so far. We're like 8 hours in only, and we kind of make it a ritual to play every new Tales game as it comes out. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun with that so far. What about you two? Anything fun this week?
I played the shit out of Dishonored, and I finally finished Dishonored 2. Yeah, so I finally finished Dishonored 2. The first one was like one of my top 10 games of all time because it's just pure fun. I know a lot of people are looking at it like, but Thief is better! And I'm like, no, it's not as pure fun. So Dishonored is pretty fun. I love the steampunk aesthetic to it, like the dark steampunk aesthetic. And it's just, there's nothing that compares to like getting into a situation that really sucks, getting yourself killed, then going back and taking them all out with like the perfect use of powers and gadgets at the same time, and just doing it in like seconds the second time around because you know where this person is, this person is. It's just so much fun to me. But yeah, if any of you guys have ever played the first one, and you really liked it, definitely get the second one. The second one takes everything about the first one and makes it better. It refined everything, and it feels so much better.
Awesome. I'm sure it looks great on your new PC too. I've seen the trailers.
Yep.
The game looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it is gorgeous. Except for people's faces. Cat likes to point that out.
What about you, Gumby? Anything besides Conan Exiles?
No, I'm boring. No.
I've seen Gumby on Conan Exiles quite a bit. I think out of the crew, I think Chaos Shield, Gumby, me, Merch, and a few of the other people on the MMOs Discord have been playing a lot of Conan Exiles. I mean,
I actually, I just hit 30.
you hit 30, level 30?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, I really did.
Holy crap, Gumby, you're a beast. What are your hours? What are your hours in the game? Did you find like a great spot to farm or something?
I found a great farming spot.
All right, you gotta tell me later.
I'll tell you later. Well, we were in a clan together, so.
Yeah. I got 49 hours into the game. Some of that was AFK, but I mean, most of that was me playing. I'm only level 22 or 23 right now.
Yeah, I still really enjoy the game, but I also still hold, if you don't like survival games and you ever play an early access survival game, don't get it.
Yes.
They made their money, so you don't, I would wait till it's all polished and refined, still a bunch of bugs to work out. But as a veteran early access survival player, I'm really enjoying myself. And yeah, I can't complain.
It's fair to say you've survived early access then?
This is gonna be the worst podcast ever. Just by the way, the number of
All right, I think we're running out of steam here. We'll call it for YouTube unless you guys got anything else.
The ongoing, it's the ongoing survival, Gumby. It's not just now. There's still rubber banding and issues with lag, but yeah, we're surviving.
You know what? I'm gonna bitch more about the servers in after show after we're done with.
All right, save it for the after show.
I want to add one last weird note because this has to be mentioned because it's just so incredibly out there.
Right.
We didn't mention that RuneScape now has a murder mystery on Amazon Alexa devices.
Yeah, I did read about that. That is cool.
Shout out to RuneScape.
Yeah.
And it actually, okay, so here's the thing about it. It uses Alexa's kind of like machine learning thing to alter the gameplay, the way that you play it. And that's kind of cool. I don't know how it works. I've never even used an Alexa device, so I have no idea how that shit works. But it is one of the weirdest franchise extensions that I have ever heard of. I don't get it, but I'm sure it's
so cool. I've seen videos of it. It sounds legit.
Yeah, I've heard that out of everything that RuneScape does, like the quests are one of the best things. So I imagine that this is great.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really creative. We don't often give shout outs to RuneScape, but RuneScape, you done did it. You created something I never would have imagined.
If I had an Amazon Alexa device, I'd check that out because I've seen the YouTube videos and like the story. It's just basically an interactive story. It's like one of those like it tells you a story and it's what do you want to do. You have like a few options and then whatever you pick, it keeps telling the story from that perspective. It's almost like a choose your adventure novel, kind of being read out loud to you in like an ebook form, like not ebook, audiobook form.
I think voice recognition is finally getting there.
Happening.
It's going to be the biggest of the next 10 years. The new biggest thing, right, is going to be voice recognition that works, I think.
Yeah.
VR.
AI that actually knows what you're saying.
Yeah, and in fact, I'm going to say the only good thing to come out of the only real thing to come out of AI in the next 30 years is going to be voice recognition that works.
Yes.
Voice as an interface will be the big thing. All right, with that, we have to go, but we will actually not go. We'll still be here for after show. Take it easy.
Later, you two.
See ya.
Take care.